Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David and Cynthia Kim.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll resume the program here. I got getting rid of my reading glasses. People are laughing at me because I look really old.
You do. You can see.
I've got to get bigger font on the page here. Next year, 16 font.
Okay, wait.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could please grab your attention. Now it's our honor to present our Patriot Award to General Joseph Dunford, who's accepting on behalf of all the men and women of our armed forces. As I mentioned earlier, General Dunford is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's our senior-most military officer in the United States, and during this extended time of war, that's an incredibly important position. He grew up as an infantry officer in the Marines, where he's known for leading from the front. In fact, during the Iraq War, he earned the nickname from his troops, Fighting Joe. And so anyone who knows things about that, to earn a nickname like that from battle-hardened Marines is a really important honor. He went on to command all U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan, and in 2014 he became the Commandant of the Marine Corps. He comes from a long line of military service. His grandfather fought in World War I, his father fought in Korea, his brother's a Marine, as are several uncles. And I have it from a very good source. He served for 40 years, but I learned that during college he signed up for 2 years of military service. He turned down an offer to do a longer period of time for more cash to offset his college expenses. And because he's served for 40 years now, he probably should have taken that cash and run. But in all seriousness, his predecessor as chairman, General Marty Dempsey, had this to say about General Dunford. Joe's a leader we all aspire to be. He's thoughtful, compassionate, and courageous. He makes all of us who have worn the uniform very proud. Sir, please accept our Patriot Award as a symbol of our gratitude for your leadership to our nation and our people.
Hey, David, thanks very much for that introduction, and you have pretty good intelligence on that 2-year deal. I haven't heard that story in a long time. Hey, more importantly than the introduction, thanks to you and Cynthia for all you do. You know, David and Cynthia have recognized a number of people tonight, and I'd just like to once again recognize them for their commitment and support to our military families. Thanks. Senator Blumenthal, Mrs. Blumenthal, General Mrs. Petraeus, Captain Groberg, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you'd expect me to say it, but it really is an honor for Ellen and I to join you all tonight. And, you know, I've never met Corey Remsburg. When I looked at the list earlier today of the people that I was looking forward to meet, and I'll meet him later tonight, he was at the top of the list. Corey, with your 10 combat deployments, dozens of surgeries, you are an example of resilience and courage, and I look forward to talking to you later. Thanks, Corey. Rangers lead the way there, Corey, right? It is an honor to accept on behalf of the 2 million soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines that I have the privilege of representing. And as we gather here tonight, 275,000 of them are deployed to 177 different countries doing what must be done. And many of them are in harm's way. And as we enjoy dinner tonight, I'd ask you to keep them and their families in your thoughts and prayers. And I'd ask you to particularly remember the 4 Americans who lost their lives about 36 hours ago in Afghanistan, 2 U.S. military, 2 contractors, and the 16 others who were wounded in that particular incident. Over the last year, my wife Helen and I have had the privilege of visiting many members of the Joint Force and their families. In fact, I just returned last night from visiting our troops in Iraq, and needless to say, it's the best part of the assignment that I'm in right now. And let me just share a little bit of what I have seen. During my travels, I've met soldiers like Sergeant Major Matt Barrick. He's a Green Beret with 7th Special Forces Group. He trains Colombian soldiers to counter narcotic and human trafficking. In his 19-year career, Sergeant Major Barrick has deployed over 20 times to 16 different countries. I've met sailors like Petty Officer 3rd Class Edelson Alazo. He's a bosun's mate aboard the USS Barry in Yokosuka, Japan. We were there just a few weeks ago. In the last 12 months, he and his fellow sailors have been at sea 70% of the time. And for those who have served in the Navy here in the audience, you know what you're doing when you're not at sea. You're doing maintenance and training to get ready to go back to sea. And one of the reasons they're so busy is they're a critical link in helping protect us from the ballistic missile threat in North Korea. I've met airmen like Staff Sergeant Derek Tarini. He's advising and coaching Afghans as they build a capable and a sustainable Air Force. And I've met Marines like Corporal Adam Senor. He's an artilleryman supporting operations near Mosul, Iraq. I had a chance to give him and his section Purple Hearts on the very ground where they were wounded and they lost their section chief, Staff Sergeant Louis Carden. I've met other soldiers like Captain Brian Hotchkiss. He's a company commander with 3rd Infantry Division forward in Juba, South Sudan right now, protecting our mission and our U.S. citizens. I met his soldiers a year ago at Christmas time in Djibouti, Africa, so you get a sense for how busy they have been over the past year. To borrow a line from the Marine Sim, your soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are literally in every climate place here tonight. And it's important that you should know something else about them. You should know that they are capable of defending the nation and our way of life. You should know that they're capable of meeting all of our alliance commitments. And you should know something else. They have a competitive advantage over any potential adversary in the world. You know, in the wake of election year rhetoric, I think it's important that our friends know that. It's important that our allies, our friends know that. It's important that our enemies know that. And it's important that the American people know that. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here and accept this award on behalf of your soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, I am absolutely confident that they are the most competent, the most capable, the most professional military force in the world, bar none. You know, part of the reason that I can say all that is because of our training and equipment. And Senator Blumenthal is here tonight, and certainly the Senate Armed Services Committee, the House Armed Services Committee, they make sure that our men and women have the resources necessary to accomplish the mission. But what makes the men and women that we have in uniform today so special are actually intangible qualities. Qualities like courage, commitment, unselfishness, and trust. That's what makes us different. And those are the qualities, I think, that have been particularly evident over the past 15 years of combat. And a big reason that those qualities exist in our men and women is because they know that when they serve, their 6 o'clock is covered. If they're injured on the battlefield, they know they're going to receive world-class trauma care and support in their recovery. They also know that there's a structure to take place that will take place and take care of their families when they're deployed. They know that when they return home, their service will be recognized and appreciated. And they know something else that's perhaps most important. Every one of our men and women in uniform knows that if something happens to them while they're deployed, something happens to them while they're serving, someone's going to be there to look out for their spouse and their children. Someone's going to be there to ensure their children can still pursue their education and their dreams. And they know that in part because of the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation. You do more than provide scholarships to military children who have lost a parent in the line of duty. You send a loud and clear message that our nation recognizes and appreciates the service of our men and women in uniform. You make it clear that the American people are as committed to the troops as they are to the nation. You know, as you can see in the program, the foundation has granted over $14 million in scholarships to military children who have lost a parent. There's about 6,500 in the pipeline right now, and 670 have already received some type of financial assistance. But what's more impressive than the statistics of how much money has been raised or how many children have been served, is the impact of that scholarship, the impact of that support. Each of those scholarships is a life that has been changed. A son realizes his dream of becoming a police officer. A daughter turns her passion into a profession. And a young woman transforms her experience into a life of service. That's the power of your generosity. It changes lives. It changed the life of Daniel Irizarry. At the age of 10, Danny lost his mother to cancer. 4 years later, Danny's father, a staff sergeant in the Army, was killed in Iraq by an IED. At the age of 14, Danny faced the daunting prospect of growing into adulthood without his mom or dad. In his own words, I faced a pretty dark path. But when Danny was 18, due to his own incredible perseverance and the love of an extended family, he was accepted to his dream school, the University of New Haven. But his excitement soon turned to frustration because as he searched ways to pay for tuition, it was pretty difficult at a private university. And that's when he was put in contact with the Children of Fallen Patriots. And in his first call to the organization, after explaining his situation, Danny remembers hearing these words, "No worries, you're going to send us the bill, and we're going to take care of you." Danny went on to graduate from the University of New Haven with a degree in criminal justice, and he joined the New York City Police Department, where he serves in the Counterterrorism Crisis Response Command. 10 years ago, that one phone call and that scholarship enabled Danny to become a talented New York City police officer and follow his dad in a life of service. And Danny is sitting out here somewhere. Danny, where are you? Children of Fallen Patriots also supported Allison Burris. Allison was only 3 years old when her dad, an Army Ranger, died in a training accident. As Allison grew, her mother continued to save for college, but on a fixed income of her surviving spouse, there was only so much she could do. She was committed to see her daughter attend college, but she needed help. 15 years after her dad died, she received a scholarship from the Children of Fallen Patriots Foundation and attended the University of South Carolina. And she went on to graduate without debt. And today she works for one of the foundation's partners, Vineyard Vines, a company founded by two brothers who know what it means to lose a parent. And I think she's here as well. Allison, where are you? The Children of Fallen Patriots also kept the dreams of Ashland Haycock alive. Her father, a sergeant first class in the Army, died in 2002, and her mother, an Air Force veteran, died in 2011. We saw their pictures earlier this evening. When her mom died, Ashland was taking her finals as a sophomore at American University. She soon learned she couldn't continue her education without another loan, and she couldn't get another loan without a parent to co-sign. Facing $25,000 in debt and on the verge of dropping out, Ashland was connected to the Children of Fallen Patriots, and they stepped in and they coordinated the support necessary to keep her in school. In 2013, she graduated and immediately went to work with TAPS. TAPS is the Tragedy Assistance Program for survivors that takes care of military children who have lost their parents. So other military children who have lost their parents now have a fierce advocate in Ashland, and someone who's walked a mile in their shoes. Ashland, you're here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I could go on. There's several other scholarship recipients here. We've heard their names earlier tonight. Suffice to say that each one of those scholarships is a story, a life that's been changed, and once again, a loud, a clear, and unmistakable message that the American people care about our men and women in uniform. You are a manifestation of that caring, and it makes a difference. I just want to thank you once again for the opportunity to join you here tonight. More importantly, I want to thank you for sending that loud and clear message to our men and women in uniform. They do what they do because of the support that you provide. And my commitment to you here this evening is they will continue to make you proud as long as you continue to support them. Thank you all very much, and God bless you.